it's Miss G from Make Your Name Great. Today is Thursday, January 28th, 2021. We're here with some Thursday tips. I have the awesome honor of being joined, not just by a colleague, but I'm going to say my brother, my friend, my Divine Nine friend brother, Ron Felder, who's a higher access partner with FIA today. And so Ron, I'm just going to flip it over to you just to say hi to everybody out there and just tell them a little bit about yourself, your background, and about FIA.
Okay. I'm Ron Felder. I'm the FIA Higher Education Access Partner for Philadelphia. I'm in charge of all the post-secondary, secondary outreach programs, state legislative, you name it, for the whole entire city of Philadelphia for FIA. I am the only representation. So I deal with scholarship nights, financial aid workshops, compliance audits, everything underneath the sun. I'm pretty much running everywhere. But I am here to support students from either middle class, lower class, or upper tier class while understanding financial aid, scholarship search, making sure students from lower income or just students who look like me succeed.
Right. For our partners or people who are joining us that are outside of Pennsylvania, can you tell them what FIA is?
FIA is your Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. We fall underneath one of the federal loan servicer as Fed Loan Servicing or American Educational Systems. We actually, FIA owns them, so we are one of the loan servicers. But for my end, I sit on the public loan the public service department, which is the grant section.
We're talking about scholarship searching, right? That's one of the main questions I get asked specifically from my seniors about searching for scholarships. But we're here today just to chat about the topic, dispel some rumors, because it's not just a question for seniors, it's for others as well. You don't have to wait till senior year. You shouldn't wait until you're a senior to look for scholarships.
Number one rule is don't assume that your parents have the money. And what students don't realize is the cost of attendance is different at every school. Okay. I like to compare colleges to shopping for cars on a car lot. Every car has a different price. So just because you're at a BMW lot and you're looking at those 6 Series, every 6 Series has a different price because the miles are different. So, when you look at these colleges, can you afford it? Can you, if you're not looking at scholarships and grants by your sophomore year in high school, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right. Because you also need to know what you're looking for, right? I try to tell students that be prepared. Don't wait till the last minute, and so you can position yourself. When you know better, you do better, right? And so be in a better position to know what you have to get ready for.
My son's a junior in high school. We've been talking about college scholarships since freshman year. This is what it is.
That's right.
A lot of parents don't set the expectation of telling their students, hey, I don't have $10,000 a year. Mom and dad might only have that refund check that they have extra, which is like $3,200 or whatever it could be. And what if they use it for fixing the hot water heater? What if they only have
necessity, things that you need to live every day,
things like that? Yeah,
right.
So,
call it the uncomfortable conversation. And so we try to guide our students with a script for just how do you initiate this conversation with parents? I don't want you to wait until you're a senior to hear there's no money. I mean, like you said, you've been discussing this in your household since your son was a freshman. And so first, knowing what are you prepared for, mom, dad, grandma, uncle, aunt, whoever may be raising you. And the answer may be, we're prepared for nothing. There is nothing. We live day to day. Or there's $10,000 in a college savings, but that's it. And we're looking at schools running that cost like $30,000 a year for some of them, right? And so first having that conversation with your parents,
to have the uncomfortable conversation is amazing.
Tell me why.
And I say this now. And I'm gonna talk from the students.
Okay.
Allow yourself to be transparent to tell your parents of what your expectations are for the future, education, and what you're expecting from them.
Okay.
From parental perspective, I tell my parents to listen first to see what type of student they really going to have in the next 4 or 5 years. Because remember, as they're students, they're also young adults. And you as parents have to kind of let them know what's been really going on with your life, why you've been so stressed out, why you've been wearing those one pair of sneakers for the past 2 years, or, you know, you got to let them, you got to show them what's underneath the hood for the first time. I grew up in a single parent household. Mother has always told me she broke, she broke, she broke. Why is mom always broke? Why is mom always broke? Well, then as I became an adult, I understand these bills now. So if my mother would have showed me her pay stub, maybe I would have chose a different college based off of why she was broke, because she didn't really have it. I had to pay for it myself. So I suggest that all my students tell your parents, list 10 schools on a piece of paper. When you come to your parents, list 10 schools on a piece of paper. Where you want to go. With those 10 schools, have the tuition and room and board price next to each school. And so when he came to he came to me with LSU, Ohio State, Florida, you know, and I sat him down and I said, all right, son, those are great schools, but here's my budget. And out of those 10, we could afford 6. Now, can he get into 6 of them? I don't know.
But at least you had the conversation, and
but
he
knows now.
Forward. Right.
He knows now going forward. He knows now when he looks at colleges, oh, that's out my budget. I can't look at that.
What are some of the key elements to formulating your plan for how you start searching? Because I always
when you're talking about applying for scholarships, the same way you can slide into somebody's DM is the same way you can be applying for a scholarship.
We have to talk to them in their language. I love that, Ron. I love that.
The same way you can go on the Snapchat for eyes only and be creepy about it and not have your parents know. You can do a scholarship. Because think about this: if you're just writing a one-page essay about why Miss Gina likes, micro braids, and they're gonna give you $1,000 off that, why not do it?
Right.
My best plan for you, I always say, if this is your first time really searching, try to apply for 5 scholarships a month, 5 different scholarships.
I like that goal.
Because you got to think about this: 12 months in a year, you're not going to get every scholarship, but I'm a big math guy, so I play the probability game really well.
Okay.
So, 5 times 12, do the math. What's the percentage of you getting at least maybe 5 of those scholarships?
Okay.
Chance, because it's 12 months.
Right.
Right. They might not be big scholarships, but think about this: out of those 5,
adds up.
If you get the 5 scholarships out of all those months that you've been applying, and then each of those scholarships are $500, it's $2,500 that you did not have.
Right. So we don't discount any amount, is what we say. No. Any amount. We don't discount any amount. That's right.
My son, I'm a Sigma, proud man, but Phi Beta Sigma. My son will be applying for Alpha Phi Alpha scholarship, Kappa Alpha.
That's right. Omega Psi
Phi. Every organization possible. Why? Because that dollar sign don't change.
That's right.
No matter who it come from.
That's right.
And whether he gets it, whether he don't, hey, the fact that it's going to be a less of a remaining balance is better. But always ask. The squeakiest nut on the wheel gets the most oil.
I love that.
My thing is advocate for yourself. My first plan of attack is always 5 scholarships a month, because it doesn't oversaturate you. It doesn't make you feel like you pressured, instead of saying a scholarship every day of the week.
Like we talk about math probability, if you're going to do 5 a month, how much time is that really a week? Now, this is something that comes up, and it's connected to the competition, but I think there's a way, and I would love your perspective on it, to finagle it so that it works and it helps them build the database. But how do you feel about friends working together to look for scholarships?
I'm a firm believer of, I like when friends work together, but they have to be competitive, because being competitive will spark that grit, that grind amongst you both. And if it's positive and provide success for both parties, then go for it. But if one friend is trying to sabotage, then no. But
I tell them to challenge each other, like let's use your
challenge.
number 5. Like we're gonna do 5. Who can get the most a month? Who can get the 10 this month and find the scholarships? Who can get the 5 this month and find the scholarships? Like that's what I say when working together. Give each other challenges so that you can now become accountability partners for one another. Because I know people like to hold on to things, but here's the thing I tell people: we Ron and I can have the same idea. Guess what? We're going to execute it totally different. You know what I mean? And so I also think it's just good for the accountability piece that, you know, I tell them all the time. I try to speak their language, but I've been told squad is a little outdated, but I tell them all the time, like, your squad is very important to you. Iron sharpens iron. And so if you have that accountability piece, you're both working on it. It's like, now I know me, I have a competitive gene in me. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you get the 5 and I don't get the 5, you know? And so I vibe like that, especially at that age. And so I think, if nothing else, for the accountability part, I think.
When it comes to education and scholarships, parents, students, counselors, they got to work together.
Aid.gov,
Right.
scholarships.com, FIA. I send students specifically in Pennsylvania to FIA. And
I do. I love Philadelphia Urban League. I love when they open up their scholarships. You know,
scholarships.com has a good database.
They do.
It's a really good database. It's a good
Naviance has a good database on a low. FastWeb is hard because I feel like FastWeb is like the big haystack and you're looking for the needle. But you're starting at like 9th grade and you're pushing that wall for 4 years straight. Sooner or later, a brick is going to loosen up and you're going to get that wall.
Okay, I agree with that. I don't recommend people pay for anything. Let's talk about that. Like, we don't pay for anything. There's only one thing I recommend students to pay for, and that's the Scholly app. I support the Scholly app. It's a great resource. The scholarship app that you use on the phone, and you basically fill out the profile, as much information you can. I tell people any and everything you could think of about yourself, about your parents, about what you think you want to major in, where you live, your demographics. And what it does is it gives you all the possible, I think it's a database of maybe, I don't want to exaggerate, but I want to say 1 million scholarships. And so it gives you everything that you qualify for. And I had a student that used Scholly in 10th grade, and it was this scholarship where if you did some type of Saturday program for 6 weeks as a 10th grader, that you got a laptop out of it. So it's not always just about money for school. So that's why I tell students as early as 9th grade to register for it, because it'll have those scholarships where you have to do things the summer of 9th grade, the summer of 10th grade, the summer of 11th grade. And then if you do that, you get 10 fee waivers to apply for college your senior year. So Scholly is the only thing I recommend them to pay for. So what other resources would you share?
So Google, number one.
Okay. That's our mantra. Google's your best friend.
I'm a firm believer of asking your college every year and at the beginning and at the end of every semester if there's any institutional or merit aid available.
Okay.
Just because I worked in the office, so I know what it's hitting for sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes there is money left on the table.
Let me ask you this, like, as we close out, if there, for everybody that's watching, and it could be for a parent, it can be for a student, but what if they didn't pay attention to anything we said before now and they just tuned in, what's the main takeaway that you want them to walk away with when we talk about scholarship and just finances for college? What do you want them to know, remember, keep in their forefront?
Couple things. Start a plan, make a plan, because you cannot achieve anything in life, I don't care what it is, without having a plan. Secondly, have constant conversations and communication of the plan. Talk about it, ask for help. Third, compare the pros and cons of school and of the schools. And lastly, parents, explain to your children what you can afford and what you can't afford. And there you go, implement the plan together.
Ron Felder.
Yeah, appreciate you always.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Well, you know, hey, this thank you for just shining your light the way you do in the community. I've always appreciated you for it.
Anytime.
This is Make Your Name Great. You know how we do. So I can't let you get out of here without asking you, how do you, Mr. Felder, how do you make your name great?
By being humble, having my integrity never questioned, and being adaptable and accessible when needed.
Adaptable and accessible when needed. That's good stuff. Ron Felder, you know I love you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Always.